Today we are making organic vegan corn chowder, and I'm so excited because my sister Allison is here with me, and she's actually the one that I got the recipe from, and she eats a lot of vegan type dishes because she doesn't like a lot of meat, which is ironic because we have the same parents and I'm like the meatitarian over here, and she actually doesn't like to eat a lot of meat because it bothers her stomach. So it shows everybody's different no matter where you come from or where your family background is. But I've been so inspired by some of her vegan dishes, and this is one of them. She made it over Christmas, I think it was, and it was so good. And I said, Allie, I have to have this recipe, and I want to make this and share it with everybody that follows Organic Made Great. So I'm so glad you're here.
So am I.
So we're gonna start and explain how to get started. We're actually using an Instapot for this. You could totally do it on the stove, but the Instapot works really well, right?
It's just the fastest way to do it.
Okay. All right. We are starting, we have this on saute mode. All right. And we're making this vegan, so we're using coconut oil. But if you weren't going to make it vegan, you could use butter, or
Makes
what are
it
some
more
other things?
rich. You can use like the earth balance, any kind of vegetable oil,
Okay.
olive oil.
Yeah. So whatever you have in your pantry or your refrigerator, use it. But we're using coconut oil, and you're using about a tablespoon, right?
About a tablespoon. I didn't really measure that, but you just want to let it melt down, and then you're gonna start cooking your vegetables because you want to develop flavors. So you're gonna add in
A cup of red peppers.
red peppers.
We've got onion, celery, and carrots. About a cup and a half of each. So we'll put all those in.
We'll put all those in, and we'll let them cook for about 3 to 5 minutes. So yeah, you'll just cook it until all the vegetables are starting to kind of break down. You'll see that the onion will be a little translucent, and that's when you'll start to add in your seasonings, because that'll help develop your flavor. Okay, so at this point we've got the onions are really looking translucent, so we're going to add all of our seasonings in. We've got our garlic, again to taste. This is about a tablespoon worth. And we also have some fresh parsley, but you can use dried as well. You're going to use about a tablespoon of fresh or a teaspoon of dried.
Use what you have.
Dried thyme, that's another teaspoon. And then salt and pepper to taste. You can always add less salt or add more salt at the end. For me, I can't do a ton of salt, so I just try to, taste it as I go kind of thing, but I wait till the end to add it. And potatoes also soak up salt, so sometimes you have to use a little bit more for that reason.
Perfect. Okay, so the veggies are in. Everything's sauteing very nicely. The seasonings went in, and now we are going to put our cornstarch. Now, a couple things to note. I got this organic cornstarch at Whole Foods. I was so excited. It's organic and it's non-GMO. It's also gluten-free and vegan, which works perfect since this is a vegan dish. So we're going to be using about a tablespoon and a half of that. But let's say you don't have cornstarch, that's okay. You can use flour unless you're trying to do gluten-free, and then you could use organic coconut flour, which is gluten-free. So you have a couple options, so use what you have. If you've got gluten-free coconut flour, use that. If you want to use regular flour, you're going to use a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of that, or you can use the organic cornstarch. So we're going to go ahead and add that in, our tablespoon, and we're making a roux for those of you that have cooked like this before.
All right, so once you've added the cornstarch, you want to mix up your vegetables as quickly as you can so that it doesn't start to burn. But you want your vegetables to be coated. So what you're going to do is add your broth at the same time in slow amounts, just a couple tablespoons at a time, and keep mixing while you're doing that, and that's going to slowly thicken. And as it thickens, add more broth, and that's going to continue keeping it thick so that you get that nice thick soup at the end. You don't want to add the entire thing at once because that's going to just be soupy, and it won't ever really get that thickness.
And we're using vegetable because, again, this is vegan. But you could use chicken. If you have chicken stock, use chicken stock. If you don't have chicken stock, this Better Than Bouillon comes organic. You could totally use some of that. So just use the measurements on the back. Okay, so she's slowly adding more and more, and then lets it thicken up, and then adds a little bit more broth, and then lets it thicken up again. Don't forget, you're going to add your potatoes. They are eventually going to soak up some of that liquid too, so that's going to thicken it up too. Now potatoes, we can use those as a thickening agent if they don't have flour on hand, right? If we use an immersion blender?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you don't have any flour, you can always use an immersion blender and blend some of those potatoes, and that will help to thicken it up too. So, all right, we'll put the potatoes in now.
Add our other veggies in, and then we can throw it on.
Okay. Okay, so 2 10-ounce bags, all right, of frozen corn. But if you don't have frozen and you've got canned corn, just grab that off the shelf, all right, of your pantry. These are 15-ounce cans, so drain it and just do 2 of these in lieu of bags, all right? So 10 ounces in each bag, or 2 cans of drained corn will work.
And at this point, you can continue to let it saute because it will usually have a little bit more time. But if you don't want to wait and you want to just get this soup done, you just have to cancel it out, and then we'll put the lid on and pressure cook it.
Okay, so it's locked. This is in position, and then
you just press soup and it'll beep. You'll start to hear it make some noise. That's the pressure starting to build. And you're just going to let it go until it beeps again.
Wow.
And you'll
18
see,
minutes.
Yeah, you'll see
That's
it
awesome.
beep. And at that point, you'll want to take the vent off, which is pretty powerful. So I usually use a rag or something and kind of just knock it out of place, and it sprays a bunch of steam out. You let it completely stop making noise before you take this lid off. Make sure
we'll show you how to do
that. It's very important.
All right.
We'll see you in 18 minutes.
Okay, we're done. It's been 18 minutes. So if you are not familiar with a pressure cooker, the biggest thing once it finishes is you've got to release this pressure. I would not recommend under any circumstances using your hand. Don't ever do that. I actually use the end of a wooden spoon, and I wear an UV glove because sometimes some of the steam comes out and it may hit your hand. So you're just going to release this pressure just like that. So you want to take a step back and release the pressure and let it
splatter.
Yeah, and let it completely release. Okay, so turn it like that. So all the pressure is released. You can't hear it, you can't see it. I still have UV gloves on, but you are safe to open your pressure cooker and see where we're at. All right, so it still looks brothy. It doesn't look like a chowder. You know, like chowders are usually pretty creamy. So we are going to be adding what, Allie?
We're gonna add in this can of organic coconut milk. It's nice and creamy. It's got a nice fat, thick layer, and that just really creams it up and makes it really yummy.
Yeah.
But you can always do whatever alternative nut milk that you want. You want to make sure it's unsweetened. This is an organic almond milk. But if you don't do vegan, you can do dairy, which you would use half and half.
Regular whole milk?
Yeah, whole milk. Anything that's going to just give it that creamy, thick texture that you want. And that's why I use this coconut milk, because it really gives it that sense of, you know,
creaminess.
Thick, creamy.
Yeah, okay.
Whole
More
milk.
like a chowder.
Okay. And that's going to be just your finisher. To make it that extra creamy consistency, to make it taste and look like a chowder. But it also gives it a nice sweet flavor, because coconut milk has a natural sweetness to it. Yeah, you kind of have to break that seal. It's got like that creamy.
Wow, it's got a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And you can shake the can before you open it, and that actually kind of makes it mix together better.
That's already thickening up. Wow.
But yeah, it just immediately changes the look of it, and it gives it a really nice velvety touch. And just one last disclaimer, I wanted to talk about cleaning, how important it is to clean the tops of your cans before you open them.
Yes, thank you.
There's all kinds of stuff that they get touched with in the warehouses. So you want to make sure you just wipe it with a rag or something to clean off that top that just usually a layer of dust on it. before you open it, because
Yeah.
you don't want to contaminate what's inside.
And that goes for, I mean, we cook a lot with canned, fruits and vegetables, so it's a good reminder. Thank you. All right, it's ready. It's nice and creamy. It's perfect. You can serve it alongside some cornbread. There's some Simply Truth Organic Gluten-Free cornbread mix. So here is your vegan organic corn chowder. Allie, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing this recipe with me. And now everybody that follows Organic Made Great.
It's my pleasure.
So stay tuned because I'm probably going to be getting more vegan recipes from her.
Yay!